What it do? What it do, y'all? Welcome back to JoJo Sports Talk Show, Season 3, Episode 1. Damn, time has flown by. We got a new member today, my boy Matthew Thornton.
Yes,
What's going
sir. How
on,
you
my
guys
homie?
doing?
How's everyone doing, man?
Season 3? Come on, bro.
Season 3,
What
man.
determines when the seasons end? That's all I
So
wanna know.
I cap it off at like 10 episodes per season. So
Okay, I got you.
yeah,
All
so
right. Season 3.
Grand
Season 3,
opening.
baby.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Another one.
And did you even think we'd make it to season 3?
Bro, I mean,
I thought
we were so bad that first episode. I didn't
Oh
think
my
we were
God.
gonna be making it past the second one. You know?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest. I thought usually Big J, you do what you want. We respect it, obviously, but I legitimately thought that the next season would have been next year, and I would have been like, oh, we're bound to get kicked off before.
Oh
then.
nah. This is the annual, yearly, monthly, daily thing, man. No, we stop at 10. I'm thinking about doing something at 10 episodes per season, so keeping it short. But no, it's not a year. It's a daily thing, weekly thing, man. So I'm thinking about getting shirts, man. I just don't know where to go to get shirts and for the show. But I don't know.
You need to drop the merch, man.
Yeah,
I'm trying to, man.
Our supporters need that. They need the content.
Word.
All right, Matt. Get us into it, baby.
All right, so we're gonna start off jumping into some NFL discussions. As all of us heard, OBJ agreed to sign with the Los Angeles Rams. How you guys feel about the move? Tell me your thoughts. Do you feel it's a good move for the Rams? I'll throw it to Maz to start us off.
Man, I gotta be honest with you guys. I think this is a quality move. OBJ is a headache. Let's not get it twisted, but he's a good player. And, sometimes, if you have him in the right environment, I think you need a good leader to keep him in the right, I don't want to say in his place, but just, to make sure that he's cool, man. Because when he just gets to going, it's really hard to reel him back in. He is a prima donna. He's the only person I ever seen make Eli Manning, of all people, actually have a personality and get pissed off for the first time I've ever seen. And I really think that this is a smart move. The Rams are making a push for a Super Bowl, and this is just a make or break talent. They don't need OBJ. He's just an addition. We already seen them go after Von Miller, and this is just another move to try and bump up the ranks and go after a championship. AC, what do you think, bro?
So, OBJ is definitely one of the great wide receiver talents in football right now. His rookie season, statistically, is a top 5 rookie season of any receiver to ever play the game. I mean, he had that great catch that we all know that's replayed millions and millions of times every time the Giants and the Cowboys meet. Maz knows I'm talking about. He's shaking his head. But he, in his first few seasons in the league, he was definitely a top 3 wide receiver, if not the best wide receiver in football. So when he went to Cleveland and got paired up with Baker, got paired up with Nick Chubb, we all thought, oh, man, this is a match made up in heaven. Browns' offense is going to look really scary. And then you add in Jarvis Landry to the mix and Kareem Hunt and all those guys and all those pieces. You thought that Browns' offense was going to be unstoppable. But, sometimes just environments don't work out. And like Matt said before, Baker is a young quarterback still. He's not a seasoned vet like Matt Stafford is. Sometimes he's just not calibrated to the NFL. You see it some games. He's not a great NFL quarterback yet. I mean, I personally don't like Baker because I'm a Ravens fan. That might be my bias showing, but I think Odell still has the talent. He still can be a top 10 receiver in this league. And this Rams offense is still deadly scary. I mean, Cooper Kupp. I said Cooper Rush. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. I mean, Darrell Henderson. This offense is definitely one of the best ever assembled in the last 10 years that I can think of. But going forward, we got to see how Odell mixes in. I don't think he's going to have a huge role in this first week. He might get a few snaps, but I think he's going to be very well. One thing I want to say about the Rams, though, now that they have Odell and now that they've traded a lot of their picks away, is it. If they don't get it this year, it might be very scary treading waters for Sean McVay moving forward. So, Rams, you got to do it this year or you're not going to do it at all.
Yeah, this is definitely a make or break for the Los Angeles Rams. Big J, talk to me. How you feeling about the Odell move?
Like the yes, sir, Big J, man. So yeah, man. So that time when the breaking news came when Odell was going to be on the waiver market, all these teams were like Detroit, was on the list. I didn't know he was going to go to the Rams. I didn't expect that. I mean, I heard Green Bay, I heard Saints, I heard the Raiders. But I mean, I like the fit, man. LA bright lights. It's just I feel like I agree with Ant. Top 10 receiver definitely. And like Ant said, also seasoned quarterback with Matthew Stafford didn't really do good at Detroit, but now he had a better team. I mean, but now I think the pressure's on the Rams because they had Marcus Peters, they had they had Jared Goff. They didn't win anything. So now now they got Aaron Donald. They got Von Miller. They got Ramsey. They are like the Golden State Warriors of the NFL, man. And now they got Odell Beckham to add to that to add to that stature. So I like the fit. I mean, my boy LBJ, LeBron James shouted the man out. Welcome to LA. I like the fit. But when that video that his father posted of him not getting any targets, you can't really blame that all on OBJ because some balls are underthrown. Like Ann said, Baker is still a young quarterback, still has a lot to prove. But the only problem I have with OBJ is the same issue I had with Antonio Brown back in the day, the attitude. Just like in the locker room, the chemistry, how well are they gonna fit together? Because OBJ, Mask is a victim to, with the Giants, man, kicking the field goal practice net and stuff in the Giants, his attitude. So, but I think the Rams have a good team, good coach with Sean McVay, and I think they can get it done. But we play them in I think week in January, I think. So
yeah, Ravens definitely play Rams.
I like the fit, man. I like the fit.
Yo, let me ask a question real quick though for you, Matt. We all were thinking Green Bay. I think he could have went anywhere. He ends up going with the Rams. I actually thought it was between Las Vegas and Green Bay, especially with the whole Henry Ruggs situation. I thought the Raiders might have been looking to bring in another talent, But he goes to the Rams. Are the Rams the team to beat now? And do you like the fit?
Well, first thing, I do love the fit, not only because of the talent on the field, but because of the location. Like you said, Odell, he likes the bright lights, New York. I don't think he was ever quite comfortable living the Cleveland lifestyle. I don't think that setting suited him. I don't think he ever got a chance to get comfortable. So I do like the fact that he did change up his location and is in Los Angeles. And in terms of the fit, yeah, I would have to say the Rams are definitely the most well-balanced team offensively, defensively, and I would say in the league, not just in the conference. I would go as far as to say in the league. I would throw in the Titans in that mix if Derrick Henry was healthy. But in terms of where did I think he would go, I know there was a lot of rumors out there saying that he was going to the Packers. I think that would have been a pretty solid move. I know a lot of people thought he was going to New England. I know I think Jordan said that off camera. He thought there was a high chance he would go to New England. But I wouldn't have liked them in New England because you go into a situation where New England has a rookie quarterback, and Odell is at his best when he's utilizing the offense as a deep threat. And there you're not utilizing Mac Jones in that offense to throw the ball down the field. It's short yard. It's just like Brady, how he does like the short plays, takes the underneath route, throws it to the running back. That's not Odell. That's not what Odell needs. That's not what Odell wants. I think he should have, and if that was the case, if he was going to go to New England, he would have had better chance in Cleveland because obviously Baker Mayfield is better than Mac Jones at this point in time. But like I said, I like the fit. They have Cooper Kupp, but I'm interested to see if maybe they have, sometimes you have too much talent. Is there going to be another situation like in Cleveland where the Baker Mayfield or Mac Jones, the quarterback, is going to have a hard time trying to get the ball to Odell? Is he going to force it to him? Is he going to shy away from Robert Woods? Is he going to shy away from Cooper Kupp? I'm interested to see how he's going to fit with this team and the chemistry.
Yes, let me pose a question to the panel here. So picking up on what I said, the question is for y'all: who has more pressure, OBJ or Sean McVay? I'm gonna go with you, Brandon. I'm gonna go with you first, man. Like, what do you think, man? Who has more pressure?
For me, man, that's a tough one. I think McVay has all the pieces that he needs. AC said it the best, man. If he can't get it done this year, like he ain't getting it done. So I think there's a lot of pressure there. But I think moving forward, for OBJ's career, I'm gonna say OBJ because I think Sean McVay, if this doesn't even work out and he somehow at some point does not end up the Rams coach down the line, a team is gonna take a shot at him. He's a quality coach. I think the pressure is really on OBJ here, because he's a headache, man. Not necessarily off the field, but he's on-field headache, and that arguably could be worse, man, because it kills the team. Nobody wants to put up with prima donna stuff, man, especially when you ain't putting up numbers. You can look up the stats. It's not for a lack of talent, but the Browns seem to be better when Odell Beckham Jr. is not on the field. I don't know if that's his fault. Maybe it's chemistry issues with him and Baker Mayfield. I don't really like Baker, to be honest with you. He's a decent quarterback, but when you start beefing with like your quarterback, bro, things start to like get sour. We saw McNabb and Terrell Owens, and I think they're both better talents at the positions. Not work out. They went to the Super Bowl. They fall apart because they just couldn't work out, man. So for me, relationships are everything on this field, and it's hard to manage, man, especially when you got a prima donna.
And one thing I think you're missing a name. I know obviously Odell does have a lot of pressure. Sean McVay has been to the Super Bowl, and does have some playoff experience, young coach. But we're forgetting about Matthew Stafford. He's had solid weapons in the past, Calvin Johnson, Roy Williams, and he never made it to the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, he may have not had the greatest defenses, but now he does have one of the top tier defenses, if not the best defense in the entire league, especially with the acquisition of Von Miller. He has it all. He has weapons. He has the defense. They're all healthy. So I think Matthew Stafford, the most pressure is on him, that the leader of the team, the quarterback position, you have to get the job done. He's never been in this spotlight before. Los Angeles, bright lights. And the expectation is for them to win a Super Bowl. Like you guys said, it's pretty much Super Bowl or bust. You don't have you traded away your draft picks. You invested in all these free agents. So I believe Matthew Stafford has the most pressure on him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Before I let Ant say what he has to say about the take on this question, yeah, you make a good point, Matt, because I was watching the first take, and you said the same thing that I think Tim Tebow said. Like, it's on the quarterback. It's his team. He's like the point guard of the team. He's a thrower. So yeah, I mean, like you said, he's on Detroit. He didn't really do good, but he had top 5 weapons with Calvin Johnson, Megatron. But now he has teammates. So yeah, so it could be on OBJ, Matthew Stafford, or the coach. Yes. So Ann, like, what do you think, man? Like, do you think? Do you agree with the quarterback, or do you think it's the OBJ? Or do you think it's the coach, man? What do you think?
I think it's McVay, because Odell's already shown that he is a top receiver in this league. He doesn't need to prove to anybody else that he's a good receiver. McVay, on the other hand, the number one thing a coach needs to do to have sustained success in the NFL is win. And not just win games, win championships. And if Sean McVay can't do it with this roster that's been perfectly constructed, that has top-tier defensive veterans, has top-tier receivers, running back, and now a very good seasoned quarterback in Matt Stafford, and he doesn't win with this roster, and now, like what we said before, he has no draft picks for the future. The pressure's on him this year. Because if he ain't getting it done, now that we have no draft capital and you have nothing set for the future, and your salary cap is going to be through the roof, let alone you can't pay for, I think, veterans next year, the Rams are going to be destroyed. They're going to have nothing. And if McVay can't win it this year, I told you, like, he doesn't have the pedigree to have like a Marvin Lewis where he can just stay there for 20 years and not win anything, and not win playoff games. I think he's definitely got to win a championship this year, and if he doesn't, he's going to be in big trouble. That's my take.
Yo, AC, though, but here's my thing about McVay. My man was winning games when he had a dog water quarterback like Jared Goff. You can't sit here and tell me that Jared Goff is a good quarterback and that you would count on Goff to go out and win you a game, man. The guy's just been honestly horrendous. If you can't establish the run, the guy's basically useless. And when you're working with that at quarterback, man, and you're still winning games, like I know the defense has been solid, especially when you have a generational talent coming up that center and Aaron Donaldson. And I'm sorry, Aaron Donald, and it's a help, but the fact that McVay's fought through so much, man, with working with that at quarterback, I think he's gonna be all right. But he's definitely like this is make or break, and I don't know what they do if they do not win this year, man.
Here's the thing. I think Goff gets too much hate, bro. He's just in a bad spot, bro. I feel like any quarterback, except for like maybe the Lamar Jacksons and the Patrick Mahomes, can elevate that team. I mean,
fair enough being on Detroit. I get what you're saying there, but
I think Jared Goff is a perfectly good quarterback if you give him some pieces around him.
yeah, sure. Todd Gurley leading the league in rushing, a quality defense, and just everything that anybody would love to have. You know what? Anybody can be successful.
Quarterback. Yeah, I think, but like you give him pieces, he's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah, sure. Congratulations. Throw him down on Tampa and give him everybody and your mother on offense, and anybody's going to be successful. I'm saying that guy's not going out and winning a game. There's certain quarterbacks, Patty Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. They're going to go out and win you a game regardless of who's on the field. Jared Goff never has been nor ever will be that guy.
I'm going to have to agree with Maz on that one. Jared Goff, I do think he's good enough to have decent statistics in the regular season, maybe get to the playoffs, win a playoff round. I do know he obviously had that one Super Bowl run where they lost, but I really don't feel that he's, like Maz said, he doesn't elevate his team. He doesn't have enough playoff experience to know like Brady or Patrick Mahomes, where he knows what to do in any given situation. I don't think he's that type of talent where he can elevate those around him. I think he does need a better supporting cast. And like you said, I don't think he's going to win on the team he's on now. I don't see him. He doesn't have enough talent. But I want to go back to what you said, Anthony, on regards to Odell real quick. I know Odell, he is a top 5 talent, but he does still have a lot to prove because he did not necessarily showcase his talents because we know what a healthy Odell can do. I mean, in regards to, can he put his pride aside and be more involved and like just focused on winning? Is he gonna mess up the team chemistry like Brandon alluded to? Is he going to be an issue in the locker room? Is he going to be able to lower his ego and say, hey, I may not get the targets I got in New York. I may not even get the targets in Cleveland, but I need to do my job to the best of my ability on the field each and every night. So I think he still does have a lot to prove in those regards. All right, but let's move on to the next topic. Unless you have something else to say, Jordan.
You might sound me.
Oh no! I think Ant wanted to say something, but I mean,
I literally about to say it now, Matt. Let's go to the next topic.
Yeah.
Next topic, okay. So we're gonna talk about John Gruden suing. I believe it was you said he was suing
the NFL and Roger Goodell.
Yeah, Roger Goodell. There you go.
We all know the situation, man. Roger Goodell and Gruden. Roger Goodell has just been a headache ever since he came to the league. Gruden, don't get me wrong, we've already covered the whole Gruden topic, and I think everybody here can agree that John Gruden deserved to lose his job for everything that happened. But I'm going to be honest, man, I think John Gruden got a legitimate grievance here for the sole fact of the NFL, whether a lot of people saying it was the Redskins organization that leaked the email to try and bring the heat off of them a bit. But regardless, the Washington football team is in fact part of the NFL. Their president, I'm pretty sure it's Snyder's wife at this point, but it's still Snyder. He's got a seat and voice at the table. So if they release something that's just like the NFL releasing it, because they are in fact part of the NFL, and the fact that the NFL won't release the internal reports on their findings of what was going on in Washington, but the team released the stuff on Gruden, it doesn't look good. I'd be absolutely I'd be pissed off, quite frankly, if I was Gruden, just for the fact of, hey, what I did was wrong and I need to own up to that, but I'm sure as hell not going to be the only one to go down with this sinking ship when I wasn't the only one who was doing messed up things. We all like the NFL needs to be better. They need to eradicate anybody that's contributing to the toxic culture that is John Gruden and the Washington football team. So if you had any part in that, you need to leave, man. And quite frankly, that's where, as I said, Gruden needs to go, but the Washington football team organization needs to go. They need a whole rebrand. Everybody needs to get out of there, so.
All right, Jordan, how do you feel about Josh Gruden suing NFL?
I mean, I kind of agree with Matt. I mean, we all know on this panel, and everyone who's in the sports realm of news knows that whatever Gruden did was bad, and to the extent he should lose his job. But I was looking at the ESPN report and saying how the reason why he's suing them is because from Gruden's attorney that they leaked the information from to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. And Gruden thinks that with the NFL releasing all the emails and stuff to like the NFL and to Goodell, he thought they was going to ruin his reputation. Which I mean, we all know that his reputation is all ruined. But I mean, like he has a good case, but I don't know what they're going to do because it's still early in the with the whole suing process. It has to take its course, but I don't know what he's trying to get out of it. He's not going to get his job back. So maybe he wants to get some money. I mean, he's already rich, so I don't know. But he has a fine. I think he has a good case, but I just don't know how far it's going to take. Like Matt said, Roger Goodell is a headache to everyone in the league. But we'll see. I'm very, very interested. I'm very, very interested to see like how far this goes. And what do you think, man?
Before I go further, and we're talking about Goodell, he's just a puppet, man. He really has no say in anything. He's just a guy that makes like the big press announcement, but it's the owners that make all the decisions around the NFL. So that's just what I want to start out with. But this whole Gruden situation, it's just been a major black eye on the NFL this year, and the Raiders and the Washington football team organizations. And Gruden, he's just trying to save face here. I mean, if I were in the situation, which I would never be in because I would never say any of the things that John Gruden has said, but if I were to be in this situation, I would want to have to clear my name of this sort of stuff. And the way he's doing this is just by attacking the NFL and trying to say that, hey, I wasn't, I said these things, but I'm being victimized here. And you know what? Right now in today's society, I feel like we've always had this sort of, I've got to play the victim now, even though I did something horrible. It's a big problem, and I know that he's trying to get something out of this, but personally, I think Gruden, he's still in the wrong, but what he's trying to get out of this is just trying to be a nice little PR safe face for himself, because he's going to have to live the rest of his life knowing, and everyone else is going to have to live the rest of their lives knowing that he's just a terrible and has really racist and homophobic points of views.
Yeah, no, let me ask you guys, based on what you've read in the reports, from a scale from a 0 to 100%, what do you think John Gruden's chances are of actually winning this case? I'll start with Maz.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think he has a decent case, because at the end of the day, everything that is suing for, it is I don't know, man, because like is it really defamation of character? Is if it's true, it's not slander, that's for sure. He legitimately said it. We got proof of this. It's just like I said, like the guy is basically being used as a scapegoat. When what would you guys fix? Getting one coach out, or that's toxic to the NFL and portraying an image, or getting an entire organization that has just been a dark stain over the last year or so for however saying John Gruden should be in the NFL. I'm not saying that John Gruden is right in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying John Gruden shouldn't be the only one going down. If John Gruden's going down, that's a start, but you need to go to the next level, and you need to make a serious change here. I would really love to see a new ownership, new rebrand. I would love to see a minority owner come in and try to change the culture in Washington, D.C., whether that is a Hispanic, an Asian, black ownership, doesn't matter. Just like get diversity in the NFL and change the culture. And John Gruden, it's legitimately a 50-50 on whether he wins this. I think he's got a solid case because it is, hey, this was a whole situation, and I'm the only one who's being used as the scapegoat. Which, if I'm going down, if I would never be in that situation because I'm not like that. That's not me, you know. But if somebody was gonna bring me down, I'm bringing the ship down with me for some, like, you know, like I'm gonna put all it out there. Like, hey, this is the truth. People are coming at me. This is what also happened. So everybody got the whole facts, and then y'all make your decision. I'll handle my consequences, but everybody got to handle their consequences too. You know, Big J, how you feel?
Yeah, so I mean, I know I'm not a math wizard here, but I feel like to answer Matt's question, I think I'm in the 50 to 60% percentile of it being effectively taken by. I do agree with you, Matt. Math on how like the NFL, in order for Goodell to be like an actual kind of like hero in this situation, I feel like he has to make a statement saying. I think so. The whole reason why Gruden is filing this lawsuit is because he's like, why the heck am I at a 650,000 emails with the Washington football team? Why is my name getting picked out of the whole bunch? So I think Roger Goodell has to make a statement for every coach, every team in the league, and set the bar, saying that we cannot follow this trend. So whether he's either, I don't know how Goodell's going to take the situation, but I feel like, I mean, it's like 50-50 in the 50-60 percentile. I just don't see Gruden winning this because for the comments he made throughout the years, and it's just, you can't, like Matt, like Maz and said on the like, when we post this podcast, whatever we say, people are going to hear it. It's the same situation. He said, I don't care if it was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, he said it is out there. And so he, like, whatever, if he wins or loses, he can't fix this. So, I mean, I feel like he has to make a strong statement. And I just don't see it past 60%.
Yo, Matt. Let me ask you this though, because we saw the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis, came out and he said, "I absolutely want those emails released for the Washington football team." If you're an owner, right, and we know him and Gruden were good friends, like Gruden wasn't even under investigation; they just exposed him through the emails, which was cool that they did that because there's no place for him. I cannot repeat that enough. But if you are the owner, it's like, hey, my team, my organization, my staff wasn't the initial investigation, but we went down with the ship. Our PR took a hit. We lost our head coach. Our team lost, our main leader. If you're the Raiders owner, like, don't you want this stuff? Do you want the Washington football team to, suffer the same consequences that you had to when you weren't even the one under the investigation in the first place?
Right, definitely. You definitely would have those, at least if not worse than similar consequences as your own team did. As you said, the coach is gone, the PR, the reputation of the team is stained right now. There's definitely, like Ant said, there is a black eye on their franchise right now. But I'm gonna throw it to Ant. See if do you have any further opinions? How do you feel? Do you from 0 to 100, where are you at as far as do you think he's gonna actually get his case solved?
I think he'll get something out of it, but you also gotta say the NFL's got like insane lawyers too. You gotta realize that they're gonna push and fight, and they got some of the best lawyers in the world, and they're probably only gonna pay Gruden or like whatever he wants. He's gonna get like a very minute fraction of what he gets. So I think Gruden will, out of like 100, you said, I'd say probably like a 20, maybe, because
20.
He's probably not making much.
Right, like I said, like Matt said, I don't see what he's trying to gain though. Like we all know he's not. I don't expect him to have another job in this league after those remarks. You know what I'm saying? And part of it, I do feel like is reputation. I get it, old white guy who played years ago, and he still has that old school mentality. They need something fresh, like you said, Maz. They need a new. I mean, it would be great if they would hire a minority to give it a new, fresh look, a new, fresh feel and energy. Bring energy that will spark the team heading into the playoffs, make a deep run. But let's move on to Jordan Love's debut. How do you feel about Jordan Love's debut? Were you more encouraged or discouraged after seeing what you guys saw in that last game? And I'll start with Jordan on this.
I mean, I didn't even really watch him play. I mean, I saw a little bit. I saw a little, like a few plays here and there. But like he stepped in when like he didn't really have a choice, but and he kind of showed out. But first game didn't really have it all. I don't really have much comment. I didn't really see the game, but I mean, he's still young, obviously. Still has a lot of talent to show. Against the Chiefs, I mean, well, it was a close game too. Like what? Like it was like 7-13 or something like that, or so close game. But yeah, I don't like got much too much. I don't want to like.
Well, Brandon, how do you feel about it, Brandon?
Man,
were you more encouraged or discouraged?
I think Aaron Rodgers' job is very sound and secure right now. I think the dumbest thing Green Bay ever did was draft Jordan Love. And listen, I don't know much about Jordan Love. I know he didn't ball out, that's for sure. He had a subpar showing. He had a touchdown and an interception with a quarterback rating, I believe, in the 60s. And they should have took that draft pick and put it towards helping Aaron Rodgers on the offense, getting in more pieces. You have a generational quarterback. This is with a league with Patty Mahomes in it, with Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and among all the others, Ben Roethlisberger at one point. Aaron Rodgers has always been a bad man and arguably the best talent. Maybe not the best quarterback, but the best talent in the league since he's gotten the chance to start up in Green Bay. And quite frankly, I think his job's safe. I don't think Jordan Love is – I'm not saying he's not going to mount it on. I'm saying we don't know enough about him, but I'm saying we shouldn't know enough about him because Aaron Rodgers should 100% be the main guy moving forward, and Green Bay needs to figure out what they want to do in the future. But for me, it doesn't even matter because you still got Aaron Rodgers for a bit, but you got to keep the man happy because he's not going to be afraid to walk away.
Talk to me, and what are your thoughts on Jordan Love's debut? Did you like what you saw? Are you more encouraged or discouraged that he will have a decent career going forward after this game? I know it's just one game, but
yeah, I personally I was like Jay. I was driving back from Baltimore. I was actually at the Raven game this Sunday, so I only caught like a few minutes. When I was sitting down to eat, and I think LaFleur's got to get a little bit of the blame for this start because they weren't letting him air the ball out. I maybe saw one pass from the 3 drives that I watched that went further than 5 yards. They weren't letting him open it up. They were throwing little dink and dunk passes. And Kansas City's got one of the worst secondaries in football. Let the man try to do something with what he's got. I mean, I get that the receiving core is a little bit diminished, but Devontae Adams was there. He was throwing to Devontae Adams pretty much every throw. And Devontae Adams he had a decent game, but it's tough because when you're going against a terrible secondary like Kansas City, and it is your first start, you want to throw the ball. But they just weren't letting him. They weren't letting him have those chances to open the ball up downfield and have maybe a big play or something. And when they did, it was a really bad play, and it was intercepted. And that was his only pick of the game. But, I mean, kid's got a cannon. He's got talent. You don't get me wrong. He's got a great arm. I think he's a smart kid. Give him some time. I mean, he's sitting behind, like Matt said, one of the greatest talents to ever play the quarterback position. I think Jordan Love, we're a little too harsh on rookie quarterbacks lately. I think it's more of an issue with the NFL. Like, everyone's really impatient now. They want that guy to be right away. He's got to be the number one guy. He's got to show out in his first start that he's our guy. But it's not like that. The NFL game is very fast, and it's very hard to grasp. And I think as a young kid like Jordan Love, who hadn't played football, he hadn't started an NFL game in almost 2 years because he had to sit all last year. And he gets thrust into the action, and he's got a coach who's being very conservative with the play calling. It just wasn't a good mix. Kind of the fact that you see his mom and his girlfriend sitting all the way up in the nosebleeds. Well, Kansas City did him really dirty with that. But It was just not a great combination. I think Jordan Love, we're going to see some good football out of this kid. Give him some time. I think he won't be Aaron Rodgers. No, because no one's Aaron Rodgers, but he definitely will be a solid NFL quarterback.
Hey, real quick, yo, his mom and girlfriend was up in the stands because they already knew nothing special was gonna happen. I get what you're saying. I hear you, and I agree to an extent with the rookie quarterbacks. Obviously, we all expect them to make a big impact. But when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers go down, good luck getting out from under his shadow. When you get that opportunity, it is a make or break situation for me. It's either, hey, I'm going to compete and the team might be comfortable moving forward with me if I actually go and do something, because we know that they've been having a rocky situation. This is the perfect storm, that opportunity, that game. Go out there, ball out, bro. Maybe they move on from Aaron Rodgers and you're the starting position. It's not like we haven't seen it before. I mean, anywhere Drew Bledsoe went, Tom Brady takes the position. Tony Romo took the position. How about Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers coming in? Like, we've seen it before. Guys go down and you got to step up. And if you don't step up, then, hey, we might have to look somewhere else, or we're going to just keep on sticking with the guy. So I don't think he made the most of the opportunity. I think he played it a little too safe. Maybe that was play calling. You got to let him throw these little easy passes, man, to get his confidence up. But at some point, especially when you have a wide receiver like we know Green Bay has, air it out there and try and make a play, man. Just take a shot. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're already down. Like, you got a couple of injuries. You're the backup quarterback who hasn't played a game in 2 years. Like, just try to make something happen, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say this. Before you put your opinion in that, I was gonna say that like this could potentially be kind of like the Alex Smith, kind of like Mahomes. Mahomes was like on the bench riding out for a couple seasons, maybe like a season. Aaron's still starting quarterback, but I think that as he gets better, as he learns, and as he gets to know the playbook better, I feel like he's not going to be like a Mahomes. But he can definitely be what the Packers need for the future. And I don't mind him sitting out on the bench and when Aaron gets back. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the same situation with Alex Smith and Mahomes, kind of like with the Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. So I mean, I'm excited for the future. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I do see your comparison as to like the Alex Smith situation, but to me it is different. It's a different type of pressure because there's a difference between coming in and filling in for Alex Smith. Like, what has he really done? Yes, he's had good regular seasons, has won a few playoff games, but there's a huge difference between filling in for Alex Smith and coming in to do the job of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, like, come on, like we've already stated, he's one of the most talented, if not the most talented quarterback of all time. I think it's close between him and Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes' emergence would definitely put him in that running for most talented. But I think we're all in agreement that Jordan Love is no threat. I mean, zero. I mean, zero threat to Aaron Rodgers' job, okay? And I do agree with Brandon on the fact that they wasted a draft pick drafting Jordan Love. They could have drafted a defensive player. They could have finally have drafted a first rounder at the receiver position. I think I've heard somewhere that they only drafted, since Aaron Rodgers has been the starting quarterback, they only drafted one receiver or picked up one first rounder at the receiver position. So they could have went in so many other directions. But since they do have Jordan Love, I did watch a good portion of this game. So he completed 19 out of 34 completions. He had 190 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And I do understand what you guys are saying as far as taking risks down the field, especially since you guys feel that they had nothing to lose. But then again, it's his first game. Obviously, they want him to be familiarize himself with the offense, little dink and dunk passes. They relied on the running game very heavily, with Jones coming out of the backfield. But I'm going to throw it to Mads. Do you have any other further analyzations or any remarks on the situation?
Before we move on to the next topic, let me just say, man, that's fine. As we said, if those little dink and dunk passes, but if you just want to sit the bench and collect a check, that's on you, bro. But if that was me and I was, blessed with that God-given ability and was able to were to get into that situation, just know I'm gonna make the most of it or die trying. And quite frankly, I think he played it safe. And sometimes the moment just calls you to take a risk, just to see what happens. Because what's gonna happen, man? It doesn't work out. You're gonna be sitting behind him anyway,
Right.
If it pays off, it's like, oh, now we got a little bit of a little battle going on, and next season is going to be very easy. And obviously, we're going to be rocking with Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season, but next season it's opens up the door for you. So I think he wasted the opportunity, but it is what it is.
Yeah, like Jordan said, I do see the talent that Jordan Love has. But my thing is, I think part of the reason why they didn't throw the ball down the field as much is because simply that the accuracy is just not there, especially on those mid-range passes to long, deep passes. His accuracy, obviously, he's a rookie. That's going to improve as he goes further into his career. But his accuracy, that's one thing I noticed. His accuracy is very poor. He does have a cannon. I did like him. He extended a lot of plays, very Russell Wilson-esque in that regard, Dak Prescott-esque in terms of keeping the drive alive, keeping the play alive, getting out of the pocket throws on the runs. So I did like that aspect. But in terms of his overall play, I really wasn't impressed. Obviously, they only scored one touchdown. Like I said, he did have the interceptions. And if you look at the stats actually make it seem like he had a better game than I even think he played, if I'm being honest with you. But if no one else has any more remarks, let's move on to the next subject. We're going to talk about the MVP race. Who do you guys feel are leading the MVP race? You can give me your top three or however you want to do it. I'm going to start with Anthony on this one. Talk to me.
All right, so as of right now, the three major MVP candidates right now in the NFL, I got to say, are Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, and Matt Stafford. And I think Tom Brady right now is leading the pack because he's on pace to have like the most passing yards in NFL history. He's supposed to break Peyton Manning's record this year at what, 40? Is he 44 now? 44, 45? How old is he? Like, unbelievable. I get it. He has a great team around him, but to throw for the most passing yards in a single season in NFL history or be on pace for that at 45 years old, that might be one of the best accomplishments. Forget the 7 Super Bowls. That might be one of the greatest accomplishments that Tom Brady has ever had. And then we look at Kyler Murray, who's leading the best team in the NFC right now. I mean, his stock did take a little bit of a hit after Colt McCoy shredded the Niners on Sunday because they could just show that a backup quarterback with that team could destroy. But Kyler Murray's been having an unbelievable season. Like, he is truly developed as one of the game's great quarterbacks this year. I look forward to seeing what he can do the rest of the year and see what he can do in the playoffs. And Matt Stafford has just had a career emergence here, man, reemergence. The Rams, the second best team in the NFC, but still not the best in their division because of the Cardinals. But he made Cooper Kupp into a top receiver in football right now. Now he's getting Odell. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a fantastic defense around him. And the Rams could definitely, like we've said before earlier in the podcast, they're right now championship favorites. So those three guys are who I really think could be a great like MVP race going forward. Maz, what do you think?
Yeah, bro. I think those are the candidates right there. Matt Stafford has been phenomenal. I mean, he's been rocking. He's averaging right now for the season QB rating of 110. As we all know, that is really good. The absolute pinnacle number is at 153.8, I believe. So just to like be averaging 110 is just ridiculous. I mean, 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions is absolutely quality. Kyler Murray for me, low key might get the nod if they keep winning because obviously we know winning plays a big part into it. So it's definitely interesting. And Kyler Murray, I feel like we don't talk about him enough. He does only have 17 touchdowns and he has 7 interceptions. They have identical passer ratings. He's also sitting right around 110. But man, it's just so hard to go against Tom Brady. I mean, the guy's the GOAT. Say what you want about him. You can knock this guy whatever you want, but he's a winner, bro. 44, almost 45 years old. Obviously, he's got a stacked team against him, but how many people could still be playing with this amount of sharpness, this leadership, this passion? It's an honor to watch Tom Brady this year. And, it just really makes you think, like, we slowly are getting into the point where the guys that, like, we grew up with have gotten old. Ray Lewis ain't around no more, man. Peyton Manning ain't around no more. But Tom Brady, unbelievable. The man is still rocking here. I mean, listen, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's a little lower at 108 passer rating, but I don't know. It's anybody's race. But for me, fellas, the real MVP is Cam Newton for getting back on a team. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah, no. Shout out Cam Newton reviving the career. Didn't think it was gonna happen, but I love to see him back in Carolina. And that's my MVP. So it doesn't even matter who the NFL's MVP is, because my MVP is Cam Newton for keeping the career alive and getting back on a team this season. Didn't think it was gonna happen, but here we are. Big J, how you feeling?
So y'all have like pretty good picks, but obviously I'm gonna go with my boy Lamar Jackson. Because listen. Taking my bias out of it. Look, he's 6th in the league in passing. He's 4th in the league in rushing. And I know we had a bad game against Miami, but we still have some key marquee games coming up. We have the Bears coming up. I want to see them play the Rams, and the Packers. But I think it's gonna come down to Lamar, Tom Brady, and Matthew Stafford, man. 2 of the top 3, and Kyler Murray is up there too. I mean, I know Brandon's shaking his head, but I mean, like I saw the take on First Take, man. Like Stephen A. Smith went off. I was like, no, that Miami game knocks off his candidacy for the MVP race. But I don't believe that. I mean, even Tim Tebow came out was like, yo, the man is 6th in the league for passing yards and 4th in the league with rushing yards. He's doing it on both ends now, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I got to go with my boy Lamar, man. So,
dude, how could you sit there and say that your bias is not in this? Are you absolutely? You got to be kidding me. I didn't even mention Dak Prescott because of the showing that he had out against Denver this week. All right, but Dak is literally, Dak is lead touchdowns. Your boy Lamar only has 14. Dak, I believe, has 18. Lamar has 6 interceptions. 8 interceptions with a quarterback average rating of 93.1 as it sits right now. My boy Dak Prescott, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, sitting at 108.7. He's putting up Tom Brady numbers right now. But needs a little more touchdowns to catch up. But at the end of the day, man, here we are. Dak also missed the game. Dak's having a better season to me than Lamar Jackson. Lamar is awesome, don't get me wrong, but as Lamar Jackson should be MVP this year? Absolutely not. We just named 3 guys. I just added in a 4th because Dak's been playing better with him. And let's not forget about Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been pretty solid. The Bills, we were talking about them going to the Super Bowl. They still have a chance. I know it's been a little rocky, but I mean, even Josh Allen, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's sitting right around Lamar numbers with 97.1. So unless you're going to talk about Josh Allen being MVP, I don't want to hear nothing about Lamar Jackson with their identical numbers.
But I mean,
not even close.
So you
Jay, hold on.
So you're missing Dak Prescott, but like, look at the teams other than the Buccaneers, who have they freaking played, bro?
Don't matter. It don't matter who you're playing. It don't matter. A dog is a dog. It don't matter. Listen, any given Sunday, dog. You know who they played? They played Justin Herbert and the Chargers, all right? Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
We snacked them, man.
That's all right, bro. We beat them too. A dub's a dub. It doesn't matter how you get it done.
We snacked them 39-6, man.
Bro, it don't matter as long as you get the dub, bro. Listen, if you're going to sit there and throw in Lamar Jackson, that's fine. But don't you dare sit there and be like, I'm going to be unbiased about this. Get that shit out of here.
Jay. I love you, Jay. I love you, man. I'm a Ravens fan too. I love Lamar Jackson. He's my favorite player in football right now. But that game pretty much killed his odds, bro. Last night, it was. You don't
think if we come back and beat the Packers and beat the Rams in the same season, you don't think he's gonna MVP race?
I mean, it could,
but it can't. But
look at the guys we talked about.
I watched the game last night. Lamar had
and one at a time, damn it.
All right, go ahead.
We talked about Tom Brady. We talked about Matt Stafford. We talked about Kyler Murray, Dak, Josh Allen. I get Lamar has the rushing aspect in his game, But you can't come here and say that he's having a better season than any of those guys that we just listed. He's a great talent. He's fantastic. You know I love him. You know I'm a Ravens fan. I root for Lamar day in and day out, but it's just not going to happen this year. That game really crushed our chances of him having
we all watched the game last night, hopefully. And okay, Lamar had an average game, right? But it's not all on him, man. Their receivers weren't catching balls. Freaking Watkins had a catch but got stripped. A good pass. Our defense was garbage, man. You can't really blame that on Lamar, man. Yeah, he had some bad throws, some underthrown balls. But I mean, you can't really blame all it. Yes, he's a quarterback. Yes, he makes mistakes, but that wasn't really all on Lamar last night, man.
Hey, I got a question.
Was horrible. Yeah.
When is it on him? Because week in and week out, it's never on Lamar Jackson. So what part is going to be on him? Big J, you just talked about strength of schedule. Y'all had a rough time against the Miami Dolphins. Let's not sit here and act like Tua Tagovailoa is the greatest thing since sliced bread, all right? He was great in college, but, he's all right. He's all right, but come on, man. Get out of here. But, Matt, we already heard from everybody. What are you feeling?
I mean, I'm just doing the back and forth, man. I know they got the audience has their popcorn ready, but I do have Tom Brady in the lead for MVP as of right now. Not to say that Lamar is completely. I don't agree with I forgot who said it. I think it was Anthony, but I don't think he's just completely removed. Like Jordan said, if he handles his business against the Packers, I think he can re-enter the top 5. But let's be honest, he is not having the season that Tom Brady or Matthew Stafford is currently having. I mean, I know they're coming off of a loss, but I feel before that loss, the Buccaneers had the most momentum besides maybe the Cowboys in the entire NFL. And I think what I think we're doing. I think we're undervaluing Kyler Murray. I didn't hear much about that. We forget. We were one. If AJ Green turns his freaking head around, they're undefeated. So I mean, we have to keep that in mind. So I'm definitely gonna keep Kyler Murray in the discussion. He's in my top. He's 3 or 4. I would say right now, my top 5 would probably be Brady number 1, Stafford number 2. Then I might go. I don't know. I'm thinking about I really am thinking about putting Kyler Murray at number 3. So did anybody have any comments on that?
Dude, I like we said, bro, if they keep winning, Kyler Murray will be the MVP, in my opinion. No matter what Tom Brady does, let's be honest, voter fatigue is a thing. We don't talk about Kyler Murray because he plays in Arizona. If Kyler Murray was doing this in New York, he'd 110% be the league MVP, and it wouldn't even be close, no matter what great seasons that Stafford and Brady are having. I think Stafford's going to get some love because people are seeing that he's actually a great quarterback. And he's putting up numbers. He's getting wins because he actually has something other than one wide receiver around him. For the first time in his career, he actually is part of a whole team. So I could see him getting the nod, and people love greatness, man. So Tom Brady, too, is also in that. So it could go either way, man. Those are the top 3 picks. I love Dak. I don't think he's in the conversation right now. I think he's hovering right outside of the conversation, might slip in. But if we're talking top 3, it's between those 3 and nobody else.
Right. I think we do have to say Derrick Henry, if he didn't get injured. Obviously, he's completely out now. He has no chance. But I also wanted to say I think part of the MVP odds of winning the MVP falls back on storyline and the narrative. Tom Brady is, like you said, a 44-year-old quarterback, and he's in second in passing yards. He's, I believe, 25 to 5 interceptions. He has played against other people's fathers who played in the league decades ago, and he's still there playing their children. That's insane. I think I saw a video where it was a video talking about the different Maddens and how he was playing the different teams back in the day from 07, 06, and he's literally playing their children, the people from the old Madden games. He's playing against their children and still giving them that work. That's really insane. So part of that, I think Tom Brady does have the best odds because I think people want to see Brady win it at this age. We've literally never seen this before. So I think the narrative combined with the fact that he is playing like this, I honestly can see him winning, and I wouldn't be shocked. I honestly, even if the Cardinals do keep winning, I still think they might give it to Brady just based off the fact that Kyler Murray has plenty of more chances to win MVP. I know that may sound biased, like, oh, wow, you're giving them an award based off storylines, but that's what they do. That's what they do. The facts are facts. So I think Brady has the best chance of winning it this year.
Hey man, you're talking about like narratives. Let's look at Kyler Murray though. He's got the wins up for Arizona substantially, and he's doing all of this without Larry Fitzgerald. We don't talk about Larry Fitzgerald. Basically, is retired, man. We thought he was gonna come back. They're getting it done. Don't get me wrong. He got D-Hop, and D-Hop is a monster, but an Arizona team winning without Larry Fitzgerald in his first season out is insane. Larry Fitzgerald, dare I say, top 5 wide receiver all time, maybe. Definitely top 10, maybe in that top 5. Just long. We talk about Tom Brady's longevity. Larry Fitzgerald was giving kids the business at the wide receiver position. And as we said, like if he was winning championships and had better teams around him and had more control of games, like he's up there in that Brady status in terms of longevity and greatness. But that just speaks to Kyler Murray's tenacity, talent, and ability and leadership for what he's been able to do down in Arizona. So we'll see what happens, man. But like we said, it's between those three, and we got some 3 solid narratives going right now. And wins matter. We know wins matter. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, so before we close out this topic, I just want to say the MVP stands for the most valuable player, right? And I'm just kind of back up my talk about Lamar Jackson. Listen, he is our first quarterback this season to deliver 3 double-digit comebacks. I understand one's against the Colts, but everyone was saying we were going to lose to the Chiefs. I mean, even though it was a 1-point game, we still won. He got the monkey off the back, but he is our first quarterback to come back 3 double-digit leads. I think they were down like 14 against the Chiefs, and they came back. They were down like 20. I don't know how with the Colts. But I mean, stats speaks for himself, man. I'm not just saying that because I like Lamar. I'm trying to back up my numbers, and he's definitely a fighter, man. At the time, they were 6-2 before they lost to the Miami. I mean, other than them not the receiver not catching the balls. I mean, this is mid-season, like predictions, man. Like we still have 8 more games left, 10 more games left. So we'll see, man. But obviously, Tom Brady can't. He has to be in that talk. Obviously, like Matt said, 44 years old, still kicking dudes' butts, still doing his thing. Got Kyler Murray. So this is this mid-season predictions. But I like the back and forth with me and Maz, But yeah,
I would never going at it.
I'm just backing up my stats.
Well, let me back up my thing, right? We talked about the touchdowns, interceptions, and ratings. You know what Lamar Jackson also has that most quarterbacks don't? Fumbles. He got more turnovers than anybody else because he's taking off and he can't hang on to the ball. He's excited when he takes off. But let's be honest, if you get a hand on him, that ball be coming loose a little too often. So if we go and look at the statistics and the way things are going, maybe if he takes care of the ball a little better, you might have a better argument here, Jordan. But my man, it ain't looking hot. We already just named at least 4 quarterbacks that legitimately have better stats than him without the fumbles, for crying out loud. More touchdowns, less interceptions, less fumbles. It's a done set match for Lamar Jackson. I don't know what he could do because I don't see the other 3 that we just named slowing down. But I think we spent way too much time on this, and it's time to move on.
I agree. Let's move on.
It's like Chuck and Shaq inside the NBA right now.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's shift to a different direction. Who do you believe has the best chances in winning the Super Bowl this year? I know it's still early. We're like halfway done with the season, but who are you rolling with at this point in time? If you had to pick the 2 Super Bowl, 2 teams coming out of each conference, who would you say are the best teams to come out?
I'll start with this one. At the NFC right now, I just don't see anyone beating the Bucks, bro. Just the way they've looked, and Tom Brady, Tom Brady sustained success in the playoffs, and you add in that defense, you add just the way they play against the quality of the opponents that they have played. I just don't see anyone dethroning the Bucks as the NFC champ this year. And at the AFC side, it's really a toss up right now. You really can't point out a single AFC team that you could say is definitively going to win that conference. I mean, you got Tennessee, who's looked amazing. Buffalo's shaky, but they're still really, really good. The Ravens are really good. I think the Cleveland's making a little bit of resurgence right now. Chargers are really good. Patriots have been playing very well. You don't know about the Patriots. Last time the Patriots had a first-year quarterback come in and walk in, they went all the way to the Super Bowl and won with Tom Brady. And I'm not saying Mac Jones is Tom Brady, but Belichick had a hand in that. I mean, you can't have the Patriots. But if you add in all those teams together, I personally see – I'm going to say Buffalo still. I'm still rocking with Buffalo. I still love Josh Allen. I think they're a mature team this year. Their defense is way better than they were last year, and they were a win away from the Super Bowl last year. I mean, Diggs is having a little bit of a rocky start. I think they'll iron that out. Their rushing attack's got to get better, but I think the Bills are gonna once they get to the playoffs, they're gonna be fine. I'm saying it's gonna be a Bills-Bucks Super Bowl, and I think the Bucks are gonna take it again. They're gonna repeat.
Maz, you have any? I'm gonna toss it to you. How do you feel about which teams are the best contenders and have the best odds of coming out? And give me your prediction on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Holmes, I'm gonna be honest. I will never bet against Tom Brady. There's not enough money in the world for me to bet against Tom Brady. The man's a GOAT. But if I couldn't choose Tom Brady, this Rams team is nice, man. It is stacked all over the place. We'll see how it pans out. I think Von Miller's making his debut very soon. OBJ shouldn't be making like a giant impact, but these are big acquisitions. Von Miller's a stud. How do you play against a defense that has, Donald coming up the front, Miller coming off the side, and then even if you get out of their grasp, you got to throw in a coverage that's featuring Jalen Ramsey. Now don't get me wrong, Jalen Ramsey maybe ain't what he used to be, but he's still really solid, man. He's still a top.
He's still a top corner in football, man. He's still a top corner.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's top dog.
He had like a little like stutter like last year. It's just like we don't hear about him as much because of who's coming up the center. And then you add Miller off the side. So it's just like it's deadly, man. Even if you escape the grabs, you got to throw into a secondary feature in Ramsey. Good luck with it. And then with the offensive side, I mean, they got weapons that is capable of leading. As we've known, I think everybody's known this. Matt Stafford has always thrown up good numbers playing in Detroit, which is hard to do. So for me, I think it's really between those two teams. It doesn't even matter who comes out of like the AFC. It's going to be between the Rams and the Buccaneers, and I think the winner of that matchup will be our Super Bowl champion.
Big J, talk to me. Who do you feel are the best teams coming out of each conference? Who are the best contenders, and what is your actual Super Bowl prediction?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at the records right now with each conference. So obviously we can't go against Tom Brady, so I think they're going to get there. But if I didn't have to choose Tom Brady, I'll have to say like the Packers, man. With they can knock them off. Then we got the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. When he gets healthy, when he gets back from the NFC, but definitely if I'm going with the Bucks for sure, because that man Tom Brady, he's a GOAT, and he found out a way to get there, man. And the AFC, like Ann said, it's a toss up. You got the Ravens, got the Titans, I would say the Chiefs, but no, I don't think they're gonna get. I don't think they got it. Got the Bills still. I think the Ravens will make a little run, but I don't think they're gonna get past like out the conference. But we'll see. We'll see. But it's a toss up. It's a toss up in the AFC. But my Super Bowl prediction is probably the Buccaneers and the Titans.
Okay. So I think we're all. I wasn't expecting you to say the Packers, which I'm glad you did say that. But like I said,
earlier last year, man, Aaron Rodgers and the Bucks, they were there last year in the AFC
Right.
or in the NFC Conference Championship. So I mean, they're one win away of getting there. So why not put them in the mix, man?
Right. But I'm going to go with the Buccaneers as well. Like you guys said, we can't bet against Tom Brady. He's done it so many times, time and time again and again. I'm just not betting against him. I stopped betting against Tom Brady around like 2014. So this is nothing new for me. So, but I feel the biggest threat is the Rams, especially when you have a line that can generate that type of pressure. And that's we all know that's Brady's greatest weakness. He's not mobile. When teams get after him, that's when he is prone to make poor choices, or he may start rushing things. You know what I'm saying? He may not set his feet before throws. So I do feel with that defense, and we already saw it. They're one of the few teams to actually beat the Buccaneers. They've already done it. Now, obviously, the playoff is a different type of atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of different factors. Can Matt Stafford live up to expectations? Is he overrated, or are we judging him accordingly? But in terms of the AFC, like it is a toss-up. This might be the most wide open I've seen the AFC in the last like 5-10 years. You literally can name 5 different teams, especially the Titans not having Derrick Henry. Once that happened, that literally opened up everything. But if I had to go with a couple teams that are the best, I would say the Bills, Chargers, and I'm personally not going to count out the Chiefs. I know they had a horrible starting. Patrick Mahomes has not looked like himself as of late. It seems that defenses are starting to pick up on how to play them. But I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to shock some people. I'm going to actually say the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to actually shock a lot of people. They have a great defense, really good offense. Herbert has a whole bunch of different weapons. He's very smart, very poised, having a very solid year himself. I can see them if they don't get knocked off. I don't know if they're going to obviously we don't know if they're going to have home field advantage. But I can see them definitely at least getting to the conference, the AFC Championship. I can at least see that. So I'm right now I'm going to say Bucks Chargers. But like I said, I think the Rams have a really good chance of knocking off Tom Brady. But now let's move on. We're going to switch from the NFL. We're going to talk about the NBA. Let's talk about the Lakers. How do you feel that they're doing at this moment? Do you feel that LeBron needs more help on the bench? Or do you feel like he has enough? They should be having a better record. Talk to me how you feel about the Los Angeles Lakers right now. I'm going to throw it to Jordan to start us off.
To me?
Yeah.
Got you, man. I mean, I feel like LeBron, obviously he's out with the abdominal injury. He's coming back soon. I feel like, they need more shooting, man, because like in order to beat the Warriors, like when Klay comes back, you need to be able to shoot. The other night, my boy Monk went off. He was going off. Got Carmelo Anthony still, but we need more fresher. We need more bench depth because I think Kendrick Nunn's still out. Like Trevor Ariza still out. I saw him in his street clothes on the bench. I'm not sure if he's hurt or not, or COVID protocol. I'm not sure. But I think that like we say, it's still early, but I feel like we need to like get some more shooters, man, because LeBron, he can't really do it all himself. We got Russell Westbrook kind of there in AD. But other than like Wayne Ellington and Malik Monk, they can't really do it all themselves. And like we always say that these teams are getting better and better with the 3-pointer. That's the name of the game, man. If you live and die by the 3-pointer. But I feel like with that main core with Russell, AD, and LeBron, that's the cornerstone. But they need more pieces. They got Carmelo, but they need more pieces to help them out longer in the long run, especially in the playoffs. Because you can't. I'm saying the Lakers cannot, with the Warriors, they're hot right now. And with Klay coming back in December, mid-December, early December, even maybe later this month, I don't see right now them knocking off the Warriors right now because they are hot. But LeBron, he's gonna do his thing. But But with these other teams, man, it's just like, wow.
And before I throw it to Mads, I want to ask Jordan this: do you feel that Carmelo Anthony should stay on the bench, or do you think, based on how he's played, because you said we do need more scoring, do you think his minutes should be increased, and do you think he should be inputted into that starting lineup? How do you feel? Would you rather have him come off the bench, or would you rather see him start, especially going into the playoffs?
Yeah, the question is, I mean, if he starts, who's going to be his replacement on the bench? I mean, who's going to be that? Right now, I need Carmelo to run that second team, because we don't. If he start, I mean, I would love him being in the starting lineup right now with LeBron and AD and Russ. But I mean, they're all, like, if you think about it, they're all ball dominant players, man. They all. I mean, he's getting older now. He doesn't need the ball in his hands as much. But because Russell is taking that load off LeBron's back. But I mean, the question is, if Carmelo steps in to the starting lineup right now, who's going to be that filler for that second team? Like you said, he's going off right now, Carmelo, and I think that's the jump for that bench. But maybe if we get some more depth, maybe in what's like the not free agency, like the like at the trade deadline, maybe we'll get some more pieces. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see him in the starting lineup, but not right now.
All right, so Mads, how are you feeling about the Lakers roster? Do you feel that LeBron needs? I know we always say this, more help. How are you feeling about the Lakers roster? And do you think Carmelo should start at some point, or do you think he should stay on the bench?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think the Lakers. First off, they're gonna live and die by Russell Westbrook as long as LeBron James is out. He's been struggling, man. He's been streaky. When he's on, they win games. When he's off, clearly they lose game. I must say, my brother Jordan Jean-Louis, that was the best take I've ever heard you have tonight. Because quite frankly, I've been a little biased since that Lamar Jackson take. But you saying that Carmelo should not be in the starting lineup, I 100% agree with you. I love Melo. About one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. But he's leading that second unit. He's doing his thing. I can't remember the last time the Lakers had scoring off the bench like this. In a long time, I cannot name one person who came off the bench in my lifetime that was doing this work that Melo is. We're talking potential sixth man of the year. He's doing his thing. I want him nowhere near Russell Westbrook right now for the sole fact of they both need the ball to do their thing. And it's just going to be a headache. Russell's already having, a hard time adjusting, but it's just another ball dominant guy. It can work with and Davis because both of them can play off the ball, but Melo, not that he struggles with it. It's just, for Melo to be most effective, he needs the rock in his hand. And we're going to live and die by Russell Westbrook. He needs to get it together. Otherwise, the trade deadline is coming up and we could see what potentially is there. But I like Russ. I don't want him to leave, but I just need more out of a former MVP. I need more consistency. I need more leadership, and they need to get it together. I thought there was going to be a spark plug when Dwight Howard and Davis got into the little scrap, but it's been mediocre for me. It's not the worst case scenario, but from what I expect from this team, this is pretty bad for me, and they better turn it around because I'm sick of looking at these teams the Lakers bring in. Y'all remember when Kobe, they had Kobe and Powell, brought in Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, and it still didn't work out. They brought in freaking D'Antoni too. He was the reason why that didn't work out, but that's for another time. I'm sick of these big teams coming to LA and not getting the job done, but that's how I'm feeling. AC, how about you?
And before you go in, I want to also ask Ant, based on obviously I don't know what you're going to say yet, but if you do feel that the Lakers do in fact need more depth, would you like seeing the Lakers ship Russell Westbrook, maybe even in a package deal to get more bench depth? How would you look at that situation? What are your thoughts on that?
First off, the Lakers are not trading Russell Westbrook. They put an investment in on him, and I think they're going to try to ride it out. And I think we always are really quick. This season's really early. It's 12 games in for them. Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest point guards ever played the game. He's definitely top 15. And I know it's common to panic when things aren't going your way, but you got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, you got Melo come off the bench, like you say, he's averaging 17 a game. Don't panic yet. it's always easy to panic, but sometimes it's harder to just take a breath, let the Lakers go. They just won a really tough overtime game against Miami where they looked really good in that overtime period. I think that the Lakers are going to be fine. I mean, Russ is definitely got to get better, as Matt said. He's not playing up to his potential. I think it starts with his shooting. He's definitely got to start putting in the work on the shooting side of the ball, but he still does everything else in his game. If he continues to rebound well, continues to pass well, I still think the Lakers are definitely a top team in the Western Conference. And I think maybe even a top team in the NBA. I mean, we were talking about it a few weeks ago. Remember, me and Maz would have our debates every podcast regarding who was better, the Lakers or the Nets. And now, not even 2 weeks later, we're already saying, "Oh no, the Lakers are panic time. We're in panic mode. And we're already ready to write off the season." I'm not in that mode yet. I don't think that Westbrook should get traded. I think Westbrook is going to be a Laker the whole year. I think Westbrook's going to get better, and I think the Lakers are going to have a very good season. Maz, you want to rebut?
Yeah, let me just say the reason why I'm panicking is because of that Miami Heat game. Jimmy Butler played 12 minutes and went down. And we went into overtime. We, with the talent that we have, and don't get me wrong, we know, as my boy Rick Ross, Renzel, Rose likes to say, the Spolstra
Whoa.
Nostra. Ha!
Whoa.
Spolstra Nostra is real down in Miami. They got dogs, but with Jimmy going down, I felt like we definitely should have pulled ahead. Shouldn't have went into. I didn't like that the game was as close as it was. I mean, dude, Tyler Hero has been killing it this year, and he torched us. But even so, like I said, their main man, Jimmy Butler, goes down. Kyle Lowry had an okay night, but he shot 5 of 14, and we're going into overtime. Like, those are the games that we need to take initiative, man. We really need to pull it together and get the dubs. I mean, Westbrook turned it around. I was watching that game live, and shoot numbers were not looking that good, but he ended up finishing the game with 25 points and shot 10 for 22 from the field, and actually went 3 from 7 from 3-point presser for Westbrook. So I am a little nervous right now. I still have faith in the Lakers. It's just I've seen super teams not pan out here, and I am definitely jumping the gun. I'm not looking to move Westbrook, but if he doesn't turn it around, I don't know what you do, because sometimes the yips happen, man. But he's a stone cold dude, former MVP. Nobody has a better motor in the game, and I think he'll figure it out.
Now, let me start off by saying this. I do think Lakers do have enough depth. I don't think they even need more depth. I like Wayne Ellington. I like Carmelo coming off the bench as an explosive elite scorer, someone that can give you 15 to 25 every night. Obviously, they have Rondo. I think their bench is good enough combined with their starting lineup. They have the talent to make a deep run in the playoffs. But one thing I will say, and Maz already knows where I'm going with this. Now, I am a huge Rondo fan. I have been he's the one that got me into basketball, but I am not including any bias in this.
The famous tape,
yep,
baby.
Exactly. You already know how I'm coming. I do believe, if not, let me say this. Let me start by saying this. My main thing is I do believe Rajon Rondo is a better fit. All right. I don't believe he's in no shape or form is he a better complete player than Russell Westbrook. I am not saying that. But I do think Rondo is a better fit for the starting lineup. One, because he has the best chemistry on the team with Anthony Davis. That is a fact. He played with them in New Orleans. And Rondo is at his best when he's playing alongside an elite big. We saw with Kevin Garnett and DeMarcus Cousins. He's at his best when he has an elite forward or center on his team. That's elite, especially a two-way player like Anthony Davis. He has the second best chemistry on the team with LeBron James after Anthony Davis. What I'm saying is we've already seen this work with him having a significant role on the team. They already run. He doesn't have to prove it. Russell Westbrook, we haven't seen it. And I think, like you guys said, I do think he can improve as the season goes on, but I don't think by that much. This is who Russell Westbrook is. He is an inefficient, ball-dominant, horrible shooting superstar. That's what it is. Averaging, what is he, 19, 9, and 8? I don't see him averaging close to 30 points, obviously, because they have LeBron and AD on the team. I think at best he can get close to 25. But what are you going to get? You're going to get high usage out of him. You're going to get a good amount of assists because he's always running downhill, trying to get into the lane. He likes to do driving kicks. or if the big man comes and helps, he likes to dump it off to the cutting center. I don't think Russell Westbrook's style or stats are going to change that much. I think this is who he is, high usage, high turnovers, and yes, he is one of the best superstar talents in NBA history. But also, he's in terms of winning, a formula for winning, he is one of the worst super talents affecting the game to get. Why do you think Kevin Durant left? Kevin Durant, I think regarding him as a top 3 player in the NBA, some of you guys may have him the best player in the NBA. He left Russell. He said, I cannot win with this guy on my team. That's exactly what he said. He said, I'm going to play with Steph, a person who can move without the basketball, a player who can shoot from anywhere on the court. I can't win with this guy. He cannot be the leader or the floor general on the team. And that's why I think Rondo can be very valuable, especially in the playoffs where he's way less, he's way more efficient. I mean, he's a way better shooter. And I know people say Rondo can't shoot. First of all, let me say this. For the last 3 years, including this year, well, actually, I think over the last 2 games, 3-point percentage has dipped. I know for a while it was above 40. But for the last 3 years, Rondo has been above a 40% 3-point shooter. He has, like, for the last 3 years. And even before that, he was in the high 30s. Russell Westbrook, what is he at, like 13%, 19? So even though Rondo, of course, he's not a scorer, but I don't think the offensive line, I don't think the starting lineup needs me. They need someone who can limit turnovers, put people in different positions to score, and have Russell come off the bench and provide another scoring option off the bench. Because who would you rather? I'm gonna ask this: who would you rather Russell Westbrook drive and kick to? Would you rather see him drive and kick to Anthony Davis and LeBron, or Carmelo Anthony and Malik Monk? So I'm gonna say Rondo would be a better fit in the starting lineup.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd rather Westbrook dish it to LeBron and AD, because then Westbrook has a mindset of taking things into his own hands, and it's not always the best equation for success. So if you have LeBron and AD, he's gonna be thinking, hey, I have teammates I can actually rely on. I don't have to do everything by myself. Where if it's him, Melo, and Malik Monk, it's going to be like, all right, I got Melo. That's what he's going to be thinking. I got Melo if I want him. But me and Melo couldn't really get it done in OKC, even though that's my boy and we're cool. But at the end of the day, man, former MVP, Rajon Rondo has been a quality point guard in the NBA over the years. But the fact of the matter is he's old. Age is catching up. And man, he's averaging 15 minutes a game this season in the games that he has played. He's averaging like 3.7 points, and the field goal percentage has been absolutely awful, my man. I mean, he's averaging 30%. So it's not even like, oh, Rondo just needs more minutes. It's Rondo, you got 15 minutes and you've been inefficient. We already have an inefficient point guard who offers more than you. We have an inefficient former MVP who's more athletic, probably plays better defense because he's more mobile, gets rebounds, gets assists, and can score, has more scoring options than Rondo just because he's more athletic and has a better motor and, quite frankly, is more talented. So I'm going to keep rocking over Rondo. I'm not saying that Rondo shouldn't be getting any minutes. I'm just saying the bulk minutes should be coming to Westbrook, and until Rondo starts becoming more efficient within his 15 minutes. You know, Rondo contributed to that team, yes, but this is a completely new NBA. This is an animal this season, and quite frankly, the Warriors coming back really scare me, man, especially with Klay. You know, let's not forget the Lakers won that championship with Klay out. So I'm sorry, the Lakers won that championship with Klay sitting out. They didn't even really have to face the Warriors, and that's the biggest threat. So,
real quick before we move on, I just want to rebuttal that really quickly. Yes, I do understand what you're saying. He hasn't shot the best from the field, but part of that is I feel like he keeps skipping games. Some it feels like he plays a whole bunch of minutes and then take him out. The next game he plays no minutes. I feel like in order to get a rhythm, a shooting rhythm, you have to get more reps. He hasn't even played I don't think he's played more than like 7 consistent games yet. So I think if he was allowed to get some more minutes, that shooting would come. I think I don't know if you watched that Hornets game the second time where they blew the 19-point lead, but won. Even though Carmelo went crazy, late in the third quarter when it was still a toss-up, we didn't know who was going to win. It was Rondo that came in the game and got 8 assists in 12 minutes, and literally gave them that 9-point lead, a 12-point lead, excuse me. And then obviously he got ejected. And then what happened as soon as he got ejected? That lead that he got them literally evaporated just like that when Russell Westbrook. We saw turnover after turnover. They did still win the game, so I give credit to where it's due. But I do feel that just for the starting lineup, I do feel like Rondo would be a better serviceable option, especially in the playoffs going forward. But let's move on to the next subject. Let's talk about Markieff Morris and Nikola Jokic, that whole situation. Obviously, in the Nuggets game, where Jokic did that cheap shot on Marcus Morris. I'm going to start with Anthony on this one. Talk to me. How do you feel about that situation? Did you like the fines? Do you feel like the punishment was fair to both players? Talk to me.
I thought Nikola Jokic was perfectly in the right. That was a cheap shot by Morris. It was a half-court shot, so more than likely it wasn't going in. And Morris came in pretty low on that hit, trying to take out his body. So Jokic, understandably frustrated. I would be too. And Morris turned his back to him. And if you listen to Inside the NBA, Chuck and Shaq were talking. Shaq goes, if you hit me like that, you better not turn your back because I'm coming at you. And I'm perfectly with him. If you were going to take me out and do a cheap hit on me, you are not turning your back on me because I am going to come back at you and try to hit you. What were the punishments, by the way, regarding that situation? I didn't really.
I believe Markieff got a fine, or Jokic got. I think Jokic got a fine, and then Markieff got spent one game. I think, or
good. I don't think Jokic should have got suspended. That Jokic was perfectly in the right. I think the NBA is really it's this sort of stuff. 15 years ago would not even be a story. Because this stuff would happen every night. Nowadays, this stuff happens. It's a little skirmish, little push and shove match. It's all over the NBA tabloids for 3 days. And now we got to get fines out. We got to get suspensions out. Basketball needs that element of physicality back. It's too much babying and coddling these players. I know this year the NBA has made an issue, a statement to swallow the whistles. I've seen a lot more, less being called this year, but I think that sort of got arranged to the physicality. Let the guys push around a little bit. Let the guys show all their emotions a little more. And I think that it's better for the game and it's better for the product that the NBA is trying to sell. Maz, what do you think?
Yeah, Doug, I'm going to be honest. When I first saw the play, I was like, when the hell did Jokic become gangster, bro? What's happening? And then the more I watched the play over, I've been seeing it all week, and I heard Shaq and Chuck talk about it, and they kind of changed my opinion a little bit. Looking at that, it wasn't even a basketball play. It was just a hard foul on him to let him know what's good. And we've seen the Morris twins kind of get chippy before. They're known for it. It's a fun facet of the game that they bring. I love the physicality that the twins bring, and I like hard basketball. I love when you just let teams play, but that wasn't even a basketball play. He was trying to, send a little message, and he turned his back to him. So what are you going to do? Is Jokic just not supposed to respond? I mean, yeah, he's a team leader, especially with Jamal Murray being out. He needs to be a little more under control and definitely stay on the court. He ended up getting suspended 1 game, and Markieff Morris got fined $50,000 for the incident. But at the end of the day, Jokic really didn't do anything that wrong. He took a cheap shot and he responded. He met the same amount of force with the same amount of force. The only thing why it looks so much worse is because Markieff Morris's back was to him. But if he would have just shoved him in the chest, would we be talking this much about it? I don't know. And as you said, this is the new NBA. It's been soft for years. We're trying to get back to that hard-nosed basketball. So we'll see. Big J, how you feel?
Yeah, but so I didn't watch the game live, but I saw the highlights on Instagram on highlights with Bleacher Report, but I didn't see the initial play before. I didn't know what sparked Markieff Morris to call attention to Jokic, but I did see the play where that scuffle, and to be honest, I loved it, man, because like it reminds me of like the old school '90s, remind me of that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Rodmans and the Rodman scuffle in the Malone, like when I saw it in the Last Dance. But obviously the NBA is gonna be like, well, wait a minute, we can't do this. That's why they fined both of them, and I think suspended one of them for one game. I mean, I'm actually shocked that NBA didn't suspend Jokic for more games, but I mean, just because it's the league. But he got lucky with that. But the thing that's funny is like on Twitter with the Jokic brothers, it's just hysterical, man. It's like oh, meet me outside the arena. We got you, Marquis. I like they're always heated. They're Marquis brothers. Like
the Jokic brothers are scary, man. I've been seeing like stuff about them. Like they are scary looking dudes.
Apparently, a couple of years ago, I saw something. It wasn't the same players, but it was like I saw a highlight. One of the brothers was like, "I'm gonna get you." Like he was like courtside. Like they're always getting into it. I love the scuffle. But I mean, it was kind of a dangerous play because I mean, Marquis had his back turned, and I felt like he was hurt. He was like on the ground for a couple minutes. But I mean, I loved it. But obviously, the NBA is gonna set the bar and like you can't be doing this. But Matt, what do you think, man? Like, what do you like about it?
Well, first, I do think Nikola Jokic was justified. I mean, that was obviously a cheap shot. He pushed him right in his ribs, and I think that was more dangerous being pushed in midair than to have your back turned. I mean, whose fault is that? It's not your fault. One of the first things when you're learning how to fight, they tell you to keep your eyes on your opponent, not to turn your back. That's like one of the first things in war and fighting. You don't turn your back on the enemy. Why would you do something like that and then walk away like everything's good? Like that just goes to show you what he actually thinks of him. He must think he's just soft or someone that he wouldn't stand up for himself. Because why would you like obviously throw a cheap shot and literally just turn your back as soon as you do it? He must have obviously he wasn't expecting him to retaliate. But I do feel that the fine is justified. I think both of them should have got fined. Should Nikola Jokic got suspended? I think one game is good enough. Because like I said, Marquis started that. They have a reputation of being those, edgy players that are borderline, I don't want to call them like they play dirty, but they definitely they do approach that line. But one thing I wouldn't say this is 90s basketball. Let's not take it too far, Jordan. I wouldn't say this is like the 90s of the days when Michael Jordan was getting put on his ass by Detroit. But I would say this reminds me of early 2000s. This does remind me of when Kobe, when Shaq first left Kobe, and it was just Kobe on his team. This does remind me of the early 2000s. But to say the 90s, I can't go that far because it was way too much.
No, I would say like late 90s, like early 2000s, like. It said that one play reminded me of like that of like what we missed. Like since we're all young, like we missed that era. Like this reminds me of like what could have transpired back in those days, like with that happening. But now with the whole rule changes and all that, like it's soft now. But I mean, it was an entertainment, man. It was like UFC, man. Like
you know what's so ironic to me is now that we're switching to more of like they're letting stuff start to slide. It's more they're not calling those baby calls, those James Harden-esque calls that where the player initiates contact first, and they stopped all that. So I do like that. But it's funny to me how we're starting to switch to European rules when the whole narrative and notion was that European players were soft. But now we're starting to use their rules in our game. Now we're starting to head in that direction. Because remember, Team USA was struggling in the during the Olympics because they had a hard time adjusting to those rules. They started out very slow for a moment there. We were starting to worry will they even get gold place. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny to me how all these years we knocked European rules, but now we're actually starting to incorporate their rules and way of officiating. So I thought that was just funny to me. Any remarks on that, Brandon?
Yeah, fellas, I'm gonna just leave it at this. In the words of the great Swiss Beats, don't start nothing. There won't be nothing. You want to start something, there's gonna be something. And that's what it is. If you go take a shot like that, you don't turn your back because you got to be expecting a shot coming through with it. We already seen the Jokic brothers, they get hyped up, and those guys, listen, they're two goons, and they're big boys, and they look like they put in work. I'm sure the Morris twins put in work too. I would pay to see that fight. I love fighting, man. I just saw the GOAT Canelo get that undisputed belt with the knockout. I watched the whole UFC event, with Kamaru Usman taking down Kobe Covington. I would pay to see the Jokic brothers versus the Morris twins, man.
Also, we got Jimmy Butler got fined for
Facts.
I was just about to say that. Jimmy, you might as well throw Jimmy right in.
He's like, yo, come see me after the game, bro. I love that.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of the Heat locker room after the game? They were all just staring outside the door, just menacing.
That reminded me of a few years ago. I think it was the Clippers.
Yeah, it was the Clippers.
Yes.
The Clippers, yep.
It was the Clippers. I'm not sure. Was it against the Warriors?
I
don't believe what team, but I remember
I know definitely the Clippers.
Like when Ann said that, it reminded me of that after the game when they were all in the locker room. They came through the back door. Yo, that shit was crazy, bro. They remind me of that shit.
Was it Houston with James Harden?
I think it was
it was Houston versus the Clippers.
Houston versus the Clippers. And
I'm not sure what the situation. I forgot what the situation was about, but the same situation where after the game they were all in the locker room and they came through the back way. And
I'm pretty sure it involved Chris Paul. More than likely.
Yeah. Oh, it did. No, it did.
I'm pretty sure it did.
It was Chris Paul and James Harden. I remember having the beef.
Right.
I can't remember if Matt Barnes was there. I think he might have been a part of it too. But it got bad. Where it was they were going to see each other in the locker rooms. But let me just say this: Jimmy Butler is my number one pick in the NBA for a man to have my back going into a fight. He had no part of that and was absolutely ready to throw down over that foul and would say, you could see me too. And I full-blown believe Jimmy be backing up his words because he's been a dog, ultimate competitor, not the best talent, but he's up there in terms of talent. And he's where he is because of fighting the odds and grinding and fighting all day, man. He's been fighting his whole life, and that's a guy that I'm going to take 10 times out of 10, especially when it comes to scrapping.
If Zach Randolph was still in the league, I would say I want that guy into a fight. That guy was tough, man. Zach Randolph.
Yeah. No, I would definitely say.
Don't get me wrong. I got a lot of better. But there's some guys that I would prefer talking that early 2000s. I said, my bad. I said, don't get me wrong. Talking that early 2000s, 90s. There's some guys I'm taking over Jimmy. But as it stands right now, Jimmy or Draymond Green are probably my choices to back me up in a fight. But Ron Artest is still a person, Sorry, Meta World Peace, the Panda's friend, whatever he's going by these days.
Yeah, no, I would agree, man. If I had to get in a fight, man, if I had to choose, I'm definitely choosing Jimmy Butler. But who I'm definitely choosing right after Jimmy Butler? Marcus Smart is a dog. Marcus Smart is no joke. That man risked damn near his life on that court, man. Him, Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, I love those players who have edge to them. Obviously, they may not be the most crazy elite talents or winners, but in those regards, they're definitely at the highest pedestal in terms of that. But let's talk about who do you think is going to get I'm sorry. Who do you think has the best chance of coming out of the West and the best chance of coming out of the East? I'm going to start with Anthony on this one for the finals, obviously.
Yeah, so it's still very early to call who we really think is going to happen. Out of the Eastern Conference right now, there are three teams that really come to mind right now. It's the Sixers, the Bulls, and the Nets. I'd say in that order, from highest to lowest. I think the Sixers have just looked really well, even without Ben Simmons in their lineup. Embiid's playing well. I think they got great depth. I'm trying to think who else they have on that team, but they've been playing good. I mean, the Knicks are kind of their kryptonite right now. I think the Knicks also are very good coming out of the East, but that's just the one team I think that's really been playing well. But also the Bulls. Remember, me and Maz, we always just gush over the Bulls. It seems like every podcast we just gush over the Bulls. They have just looked phenomenal. I mean, Vucevic just got on the COVID list yesterday, so he'll be missing a few games. But let me think Lonzo
Levine.
Ball, Levine, DeRozan, Caruso. That team is just really come on. Like we thought they could have been a team to watch out for, but we didn't think they were going to be this good out of the gates. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Chicago. And then I said the Nets because the Nets are the Nets. I mean, you got KD and Harden for a reason. KD's playing like an MVP right now. I think he's averaging close to 30 points a game. We thought he was washed, but not anymore. So if I had to pick out of those three teams right now, I think the Bulls are definitely playing the best out of the three. But if I had to pick a team to go all the way in the Eastern Conference, I'd probably still have to stick with the Nets because they're getting better, but they haven't played up their potential yet. They haven't beaten a really good team yet, but it's going to come. It's not there yet. But now moving over to the Western Conference, teams that I've really liked out of the Western Conference, Utah, I've really liked. Denver, I've really liked. I still think the Lakers, like we said before, that they could definitely get better. I'm not panicking yet, like you guys are, because you're Lakers fans, so you're gonna panic. But I still think the Lakers are in a good spot. Suns, the Western Conference champs, they're definitely up there. If I had to pick a team out of the Western Conference, though, I think the Jazz might do it this year. I think they might come out of the West. I'm really liking the Jazz, man. They're playing really solid basketball. I love. They just had that big incident the other night with Gobert and Miles Turner getting ejected, but he was on the Pacers. But you know what? I'm going dark horse Jazz versus the Nets in the finals as of right now.
I like the confidence. Before I throw this to Brandon, you don't feel like the Warriors are going to be a huge factor?
Oh, I forgot about the Warriors. I definitely once Clay gets back, they're definitely going to be a good team. But I'm still thinking
you would wait. So you still feel that the Jazz have a higher chance of winning? Or I forgot the other teams you mentioned. You think they have a better chance than the Warriors when Clay comes back and with Wiseman coming back?
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
All right, Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I'm picking the dark horse this year. I'm picking the dark horse.
Okay.
My man AC just loved to make he take an avenue that's different from the rest of the cut, and I do respect it. But let me just say, the Utah Jazz are going to do what they did last year. They're going to have a solid regular season. They're going to get to the playoffs. They might even be a first or second seed. I'll give them that. I think right now it's the Warriors to lose because even without Clay, they're killing it. And I don't think any of us saw them doing this. This has just been spectacular. But the reason why I have no faith in the Jazz is because their coach isn't good. Okay? We saw the Clippers dice up Rudy Gobert. He had Rudy Gobert in that awful zone where, two up front, two down there, chilling in the middle, basically running for his life, back to forth corner threes that he just couldn't cover. And the coach refused to switch back to a man defense. Quinn Snyder, is it Dan Quinn? Yeah, Dan Quinn, right? Head coach. Dan Quinn, I'm sorry, man. Like, I have no faith in him after that. And everybody's like, oh, it was just one series. I don't care, man. It was the easiest adjustment. I swear, a kid that just started playing basketball could have made that adjustment. All you had to do was go back into man defense. I do not trust this coach times. I do not trust him in critical moments because, as we said, all he had to do was switch back to man defense, and the Utah Jazz might be NBA champions and not the Milwaukee Bucks. But nonetheless, as I said, it is the Warriors to lose right now. I'd like to see the Lakers. I have confidence in the Lakers turning it around. I think the West is, going to be awesome. But for me, as it sits right now, I think I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't be the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors. Bulls are looking awesome. Let's see if they can sustain it. This is going to be some trying times without Vucevic, and the Lakers need to turn it around. Bron's got to get healthy, and Russell Westbrook's got to get his mind right. But, anything could happen in the NBA. That's what I love to see. You can't even count out, the Knicks have been killing it too, grinding. The Wizards are sitting at the top of the East right now, for crying out loud. Somebody give Bradley Beal his flowers. Somebody please
Right,
give
facts.
Bradley Beal his flowers. You never know. They got Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie's a baller, dude. So it's really this year's really up in the open. I can't remember the last time we've had this many teams in either conference possibly contending, man. So, what you think, man?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Obviously, I got the Lakers up there in the mix. I mean, we can't forget about my boy in Dallas, Luka Doncic, my boy going off in the West. I'm looking at the stats, man, like the records. I mean, Golden State's up there. And like I said earlier in the podcast episode, with Clay coming back with the Warriors, looking good. But who knows how he's gonna be? Because he hasn't played since 2018, 2019. Still arguably one of the best shooters of all time with Steph Curry. But yeah, I'm not really giving up faith yet with the Lakers. I mean, still 13 games into the season with LeBron coming back into the mix after his injury. But yeah, I mean, out of the West, I see it's tough. I mean, can't forget about John Morant and the Grizzlies. He's a dog, but I don't really see them really getting far. But who knows? In the East, we got Philly. Even without Ben Simmons, I mean, they're still looking good. I mean, I look at Milwaukee is 6-7 right now, but you can't forget about the championships last year. Giannis, they can kick it up a notch. The season, who knows? But I mean, I still think it's the Nets and the Lakers, man, in the finals, man. That's my final prediction, man. But yeah, I think it's wide open, man. Because it's still early. So.
Yeah, I was going to say it's crazy how this is the most wide open maybe the NFL and NBA have been in years. Both leagues, it's just we don't know. I mean, we're at the NFC, we are expecting Brady to come out, but in terms of the AFC and then just this right here, man, it's really up in the air. But if I had to say right now, the Warriors do look the best. This because look at what they're doing without Klay Thompson, a top 3 shooter in NBA history, who's a two-way player. They're doing all this without a two-way player who can get even hotter than the greatest shooter ever. So that's insane. I do feel the Lakers, obviously LeBron James has that similar effect as Tom Brady does. We're not going to LeBron because LeBron, what did he have, 10 or 9 straight finals appearances, if I'm not mistaken? So obviously I'm not going to count on LeBron. But one team that I'm going to throw out there, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh man, this team, you really saying this? The Clippers, man. Now I know the Clippers is for memes. We always say they're cursed. They're not going to get it done. Paul George chokes. I understand all of that. I'm not saying they are going to win it, but they are a solid team. I think they could win a first round in the playoffs without Kawhi, depending on where they fall in the rankings. Obviously, if they match up with the Lakers or the Warriors without Kawhi, they're done. But depending on who they get, they could win a first round without Kawhi. You add Kawhi coming back, and this team has more years under their belt, more chemistry. Paul George, I believe, has proven last year in the playoffs that he can play decent in the playoffs, and he's not a choke artist. He played much better, even though he did struggle from the field as far as field goal percentage wise. He played much better last postseason than he did against when they blow that 3-1. So the Clippers are going to be an interesting team to look because based on how this Lakers team is constructed and how they look so far, if things don't turn around and things don't change, I don't know if they could beat the Clippers. I can't say that. Kawhi, they already have chemistry. They've done this before. Reggie Jackson, this is his team as far as running the show, as far as being the point guard. He had that emergence in the playoffs. I don't know if this Lakers team could beat that Clippers team if they continue to play like this and if Russell Westbrook doesn't turn his turnovers down. So I'm going to have to go as the Clippers as my underdog in the West, but I'm going to say the Warriors are my pick right now. For the East, I think you guys are sleeping on the Bucks. I didn't hear anybody mention the Bucks coming out of the East. Defending champs, Giannis, obviously an all-around player. This man, Giannis, is off to the greatest start at any NBA player in NBA history. We've never seen a player have, in his what is he, 24, has a defensive player of the year, 2 MVPs, a finals MVP. This man, Chris Middleton, that he knows his role. He's he's the Robin to Batman, which is obviously Giannis. They have Drew Holiday, great bench depth, great chemistry. We used to see these videos trending of them wrestling and doing different wrestling intimidations and stuff like that. They have great chemistry, and they've done it before. They proved, obviously, if the Nets had Kyrie, they probably wouldn't have won. But I can't count out the Bucks. So right now, if I had to say who's coming out the East, even though I like what Philly is doing, I'm gonna continue with the Bucks. I like what they have already because we don't know if Kyrie's coming back. I can't tell you for sure if Kyrie's gonna play in the playoffs or if he's gonna be available. So right now, I'm probably gonna say, if I had to guess, I would say Warriors, Bucks. But I'm not gonna sleep on the Clippers either in the West.
And right now, I mean, I'm watching a potentially finals matchup with the Chicago Bulls and Golden State Warriors right now on ESPN. So I mean, they're looking pretty good. 20, 30, 30, 31 right now. Bulls are winning by 2. So I mean, the Bulls are looking nice, man. But yeah, like you said, like you can't count the Bucks, man. Like with Giannis at the helm of of the team. I mean, I think they're 6 and 7 though. So I mean, they're kind of like below 500. But I mean, it's still early. But like you said, like who knows if Kyrie's gonna come back or not? Like you can't really, no one knows for sure. But yeah, like you can't cut them out either. So.
Right. Does anybody have any other further remarks? I see Brandon.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you right now. It's nice to see the PG-13% turning around this season. He's been killing it, but I just don't trust him in big moments. He was great in Indiana, but when the moment really calls for it, like where's he at? Especially the last couple of years with the Clippers. So they're gonna ride and die by him, especially without him. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know, man. I have no faith in the Clippers, but that could just be a bias, probably. But here we are.
Right. Well, that's about all, folks. I'm glad. I hope everybody at home enjoyed this great show. I look forward to watching these different games, discussing more content, more matchups. Obviously, we're going to look forward to seeing who's going to advance as far as teams in the playoffs and who has a higher chance to win like MVP and all that. But thank you guys so much for watching us. We'll be next. I'll see you guys next Friday.
Absolutely.
By
Big J. Oh, go ahead. Ed.
I was like, Maz, listen to my boy Maz. 93.6?
For what? The
Red Hawk Station.
Yeah.
Red Hawk Station, guys. WMSC 90.3 Upper Montclair.
This man
Catch your
calls
boys.
basketball games, man.
Y'all can catch me calling the basketball game, especially tomorrow for the Red Hawks. My boy Jordan Jean-Louis making his debut for the station.
Sir, let's go.
With the pre-game, halftime, and post-game analysis. We're going to be killing it. You already know I'm bringing the energy on that commentary. AC, thank you for reminding me. Big J, the name JJL Sports Talk Show. Take us out, my brother.
Yeah, man. Matt, I want to appreciate you for bringing that up. My first time going to be on doing the radio station for the basketball game. Opportunity for me, to talk about basketball, the sport I love. Obviously, I do this with you all. Like, it's not going to be that hard. But hopefully I don't stutter, man. Hopefully I do a good job. But yeah, so like Matt said, thank you all for tuning in to the show. Like I said, season 3, episode 1. Episode 2 is gonna be next Friday. And
if I could just plug my YouTube channel, cut you off. Matt Descat. I do a lot of sports discussions, mostly basketball and football. I do a lot of sports gaming, 2K and Madden. So make sure you guys check that out. It's Matt Descat, MattDaskat. But I'm gonna hand it over to you, Jordan. Close this out, man.
Yes, sir. Yep. Well, that's all we got for tonight, man. So I guess we'll see y'all next Friday, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Y'all be safe, man.
Be back with another one.
Another one.
DJ Khaled. Another one. All right, fellas.
All right.